Chosen one. Sit down exactly where you are right now. Do not move your finger to scroll past this moment. This is a divine interruption designed specifically for you. The heavy exhaustion you woke up with today is not just physical tiredness, because it is a spiritual alarm ringing loudly in the unseen realm. Heaven has bent the absolute rules of time and space to place this message in your path. This specific moment on your screen is not the result of an algorithm. It is not a random coincidence. God made absolutely sure you found this exact video before it was too late. If you walk away now, you are turning your back on the massive shift heaven orchestrated for your life, and the window of this alignment is closing fast. Stay with me for just a few minutes. Breathe out that heavy panic right now. The danger is not here to destroy you. You are safe in this sanctuary. I know how deeply you have been struggling lately while you run endlessly to fix every broken thing around you. You carry the weight of everyone else in absolute silence. No one sees how close you are to completely breaking down, but I see every silent tear you cry in the dark when the house is finally quiet. You feel the crushing pressure to keep moving. You think that if you stop for even 1 second, everything will collapse. The enemy wants you to stay in this constant state of frantic panic. He knows that a tired warrior cannot hold their inheritance, so he constantly feeds you heavy lies about your inevitable failure. That is exactly why I am ordering you to stop. Sit down and lay your heavy armor on the floor. Your time of endless running is over. Something massive is about to happen in your life. A profound transformation is waiting right behind the door you are standing in front of, but you cannot walk into that room while acting like a frantic servant. You must enter it as the rightful heir. The delay you have been crying about was never a punishment. It was always a holy preparation for the incredible wealth and absolute authority you are about to step into very soon. Do not let the distraction of this world pull your eyes away. Listen closely to the sound of my voice. The tension you feel in your chest right now is not ordinary anxiety. It is the physiological weight of a massive spiritual calling pressing down on a fragile human body while your nervous system braces for the ultimate shift. You are standing at the absolute threshold of your arrival season. Why is heaven demanding that you sit down today? Because when you are constantly moving, you are accidentally fighting against the very miracle you prayed for. You are trying to build what God has already finished. I need your complete stillness right now so the ultimate architect of the universe can finally complete his grand work in your life. You do not need to fight this battle anymore. The victory has already been secured for you. Stop standing at the counter of heaven like a tired beggar. You do not need to plead for the scraps of what is already written in your name. You, the cycle breaker of your entire bloodline. The generational curse of poverty and exhaustion dies with you. But you must learn the holy power of sitting still, because your silence and your rest are the greatest weapons against the darkness. There is a specific reason the enemy tried so hard to exhaust you this week. He is absolutely terrified of the authority you are about to step into. He thought he could wear you out before the harvest arrived. But his time is completely up. I am drawing a protective circle around your mind and your resources right now while you discover the powerful secret of the divine delay. What is about to transform your life is huge, but you must hear the rest of this truth to unlock the vault. Do not skim the next few words. I am going to reveal exactly what has been draining your energy in the unseen realm, and I promise you it is not what you think it is. Take one deep breath and prepare your spirit. The heavy fog is about to lift forever. Let me speak directly to the physical ache you are carrying. Your body is incredibly heavy today. Your shoulders are tight with invisible burdens. You are moving far too fast. Every single day feels like a massive mountain you must climb entirely alone. And when you finally lay down at night, your mind refuses to stop racing through all the problems you could not solve. I see your hidden pain. You run constantly from task to task. You try to fix absolutely everything. You are the quiet glue holding your entire family together. And everyone around you depends on your strength, but nobody asks how you are doing when the doors are finally closed. They just take your warm energy and leave you completely empty inside. You are so incredibly tired. Feel the sharp ache in your neck right now. Notice the deep tension living in your lower back. This is not just normal physical aging. This is the heavy cost of carrying emotional burdens that were never meant for your fragile shoulders. You swallow your bitter tears, you force a brave smile, and you step back into the chaotic world to fight another lonely battle. The feeling of absolute hopelessness is very real. You work so incredibly hard every single day, you pray so loudly in the quiet moments. But despite all your endless sacrifices, the needle never seems to move forward for you. The bank account stays low. The daily problems keep piling up like a dark storm on the horizon. You wonder if heaven has forgotten your address. You wonder if you did something wrong to deserve this endless struggle. But you did not fail. I saw you staring at the ceiling at 2 in the morning. I saw you calculating numbers while your heart raced with pure panic. I saw you holding your breath when the phone rang unexpectedly. And I saw you hiding your exhausted face so your family would not see the absolute terror in your eyes. I was sitting right there with you in that dark room. You think you must sustain the entire universe by yourself. You believe that if you drop one single ball, the whole house will crash down. So you hustle harder. You sacrifice your precious sleep. You push your aching body way past its absolute limits just to survive another lonely week. You give away your last drop of peace to make someone else comfortable. This frantic energy is slowly breaking your spirit. It feels like you are shouting into an empty canyon with no echo. You pour fresh water into cups that never fill up, and when you finally need a tiny drop of grace for yourself, the room is completely empty. This profound isolation is incredibly heavy. This extreme loneliness is the heaviest cross you carry every day. But this dry wilderness was never meant to be your final destination. Notice how hard it is to focus your mind lately. Notice the thick fog wrapping around your thoughts. You forget simple things, and you quietly start to think you are losing your mind forever. Your brain is just trying to block the overwhelming panic. It is a biological shield protecting you from a massive breakdown. You are absolutely terrified to sit still. You think stillness equals pure laziness. You honestly think that if you rest today, you will lose the tiny bit of ground you fought so painfully hard to gain. The cruel world taught you that only the exhausted survive. But heaven operates on an entirely different rhythm. Listen closely to me now. Let me speak to something very tender that you have carried quietly for years. Unclench your tight jaw right now. Take one slow and deep breath, and let your heavy shoulders fall completely down. You do not have to hold the sky up today. I am taking the crushing weight off your tired arms. Stop running, stop fixing, just breathe, and let me hold you. I need you to understand something incredibly clearly today. There is a massive difference between being completely abandoned and being commanded to rest. You thought the sudden silence in your life was a heavy punishment, and you honestly believed that heaven was fiercely angry with you. You thought my silence meant you did something terribly wrong. But you are completely wrong about this secret season, because the delay is not a rejection of your desperate prayers. When I command you to sit down, it is never a cold rejection. It is the ultimate form of divine protection. I am pulling you out of the frantic race. You were running directly into a hidden trap. The enemy set a dangerous snare on your daily path, and the only way to save your precious life was to stop your momentum entirely. I had to halt your steps to preserve your future. While you are sitting still and feeling completely useless, I am aggressively fighting for you. I am actively clearing out the toxic people who secretly plotted against your destiny. I am rearranging the complicated circumstances that you tried so desperately to control. You could never fix this massive mess with your fragile human hands. So you need a supernatural intervention right now that requires your total surrender. Breathe out that heavy guilt immediately. Your unanswered prayers were not a cruel rejection at all. Your deep exhaustion is not a sign of weak faith. You thought I was silent because I did not care about your bitter tears. But I was actually incredibly busy moving massive mountains in the dark, and the painful delay you hated was always my fierce protection over your fragile heart. You are the chosen one. You are not a frantic slave forced to earn your keep every single day. A servant panics when the hard work stops because they fear they will not be fed. But a rightful heir sits peacefully at the grand table. They know the massive estate already belongs to them by absolute birthright, and you must change your anxious posture today to claim your true identity. It terrifies your human mind to do absolutely nothing. You have survived for so long by hustling and forcing heavy doors to open. But the golden door to your arrival season cannot be pushed open by human force. It opens automatically when you finally surrender your desperate need to control the outcome. Sitting down is the ultimate act of radical faith in a world that worships frantic action. That heavy fog in your mind is not a personal failure. The daily forgetfulness that frustrates you is not a fatal weakness. It is simply the physiological weight of carrying a massive spiritual calling in a fragile body. Your nervous system is currently bracing for a monumental shift. Do not call yourself broken when you are simply under holy compression, because your vessel is just adjusting to the new frequency. Stay with me right now. Do not let the distraction of the chaotic world pull your attention away. I am breaking through the heavy noise to realign your tired spirit. You must hear this next truth clearly before we move forward. The battle you have been losing your sleep over is already finished in the unseen realm, and the glorious victory has been fully secured on your behalf. The enemy desperately wants you to stand up and keep fighting blindly. He wants you to exhaust yourself trying to defend your own good name. He knows that if you stay perfectly still, my fierce angels will destroy his entire camp. Your holy silence is the exact weapon that terrifies him the most, and he cannot defeat a warrior who completely refuses to panic. So, remain seated in your profound peace today. Let the chaotic world spin wildly around you without stealing your sharp focus. The massive breakthrough you begged for is no longer your responsibility to manufacture. I am doing the heavy lifting for you right now. You just need to hold your quiet position and watch heaven move aggressively on your behalf. The heavy burden is finally lifted. I know exactly why sitting perfectly still terrifies you so much. You feel like you are completely losing control of your own life. When I tell you to sit down, every single alarm bell in your brain starts ringing wildly. You think that sitting still is exactly the same as giving up. And for someone who has fought their entire life just to survive, giving up feels like a death sentence. Notice how your hands instinctively clench into tight fists right now. Your mind is racing through 100 different worst-case scenarios. You are absolutely terrified that if you let go of the steering wheel, the entire car will crash immediately. You honestly believe that your constant worrying is the only magic keeping your fragile world intact. It is a very heavy illusion. I see the deep trauma behind your desperate need to control everything. You do not run around frantically because you are greedy or overly ambitious. You do it because you learned a very painful lesson a long time ago. You learned that if you do not handle the problem yourself, absolutely nobody else will step up to help you. You were completely abandoned in your hardest moments. That painful past taught you to become hyper-independent. You built a massive fortress of control around your tender heart to ensure nobody could ever drop you again. So when heaven asks you to stop fixing things, it feels like you are stripping off your only armor in the middle of a vicious battlefield. The vulnerability is absolutely crushing. You feel completely exposed and naked. You sit there physically, but your mind is running 1,000 miles per hour. You mentally calculate your dwindling bank account. You try to predict the unpredictable reactions of toxic people. You try to plan 10 steps ahead just to avoid another painful disaster. Your physical body is resting on a chair, but your exhausted spirit is currently fighting a brutal war in the unseen realm. Hold that exact sentence for a moment. Let it land deeply in your tired spirit. I know the unique torture of a restless mind trapped in a tired body. You feel incredibly guilty the moment you sit on the couch. A dark whisper immediately tells you that you are being terribly lazy. It tells you that your peers are pulling ahead while you are falling hopelessly behind in this cruel race. You feel a deep knot of pure anxiety twisting in your stomach every time you try to relax. Your breathing becomes very shallow. You feel like you are forgetting something incredibly important. This is the physiological torment of a tired caregiver who has forgotten how to simply exist without producing value. You think your only worth comes from what you can fix for others. If you stop producing, you fear they will stop loving you. If you stop rescuing everyone, you fear you will be completely forgotten. That is the deepest root of your panic. You are terrified of becoming useless. You cry in the dark because you are trapped in a vicious cycle. You are too exhausted to keep moving, but you are too scared to finally stop and face the quiet room. I watched you try to surrender yesterday. You folded your hands and prayed for sweet peace. But 5 minutes later, you picked up your phone to check for bad news. You quickly jumped back into the chaotic mess because the silence was too loud. The silence forced you to face your own hidden pain, and it was much easier to fix someone else's drama than to heal your own breaking heart. Do not skip these next few words. I am reaching into the deepest and darkest corner of your hidden fears right now. I am not condemning your lack of trust. I am crying with you because I see how incredibly much it hurts to be you sometimes. I see the beautiful and broken vessel that you are trying so desperately to hide from the world. Your profound fear is completely understood. You are not a failure for feeling this massive panic today. It is incredibly human to grip the steering wheel when the storm gets dark, but you are gripping it so hard that your own hands are bleeding. You are hurting yourself trying to protect yourself. I need to slowly pry your tired fingers open today. Let me wash the deep wounds you got from trying to control the wild wind. Let me show you the unseen truth about your current situation. You have totally misunderstood the power of being still. You think that remaining quiet makes you look incredibly weak. And you believe that if you do not fiercely defend yourself, your toxic enemies will eventually win the battle. But you are measuring spiritual warfare with a broken earthly ruler. There is a massive difference between hiding in fear and standing in absolute authority. Fearful silence hides in the dark. Faithful silence stands firmly in the light. You thought your true vindication would finally begin when everyone around you understood your pure intentions. But true vindication actually begins when you completely stop needing confused people to become your ultimate judge. A frantic petitioner stands at a busy counter and begs for attention. They constantly wave their hands and shout to be noticed by the higher authority. But a rightful heir simply walks through the massive door and calmly sits down at the prepared table. The heir knows the inheritance already belongs to them, so they never need to scream to prove their identity to the confused servants. Your silence is not a sign of your defeat. It is a terrifying weapon against the darkness. The enemy desperately wants you to break your holy silence today. He wants you to send that long, angry text message. He wants you to loudly explain yourself just one more time to people who are entirely committed to misunderstanding you. Do not give him exactly what he wants. When you open your mouth to fight back, you are stepping out of my protective shadow. You are choosing to fight a supernatural war with fragile human logic. Your earthly words cannot defeat a spiritual enemy. But when you firmly close your mouth and refuse to engage in their toxic drama, you force heaven to step forward and fight the battle on your behalf. Your stillness activates my fierce angels. This is the powerful secret of your divine delay. Kings do not run frantically around the castle. Queens do not chase after rumors in the crowded streets. Royalty moves with a slow and deliberate grace because their absolute authority is never threatened by the loud noise of peasants. Heaven is currently training you to carry the massive weight of a royal crown. You must learn to sit like royalty. Stop acting like a terrified victim trapped in a terrible storm. You are the chosen one placed specifically in this generation to break the ancient cycles. The heavy pressure you feel is not crushing you to death. It is squeezing the old beggar mindset out of your soul so you can finally carry the immense wealth of the incoming season. The pain is just the beautiful birth of your new identity. If your tired spirit is finally recognizing this profound truth, you need to make a physical declaration right now. Gently press the like button as your quiet covenant with heaven today. And then I need you to type the number 777 in the comments below to officially seal this prophetic word. This small action is your signed acknowledgement that you are ready to stop begging and start receiving. You are reclaiming your stolen peace today. The exhausting era of constantly performing for blind crowds is completely over. You do not owe anyone another painful explanation about your divine journey. Let them judge the chapter they walked in on without understanding the beautiful book heaven is writing. Their limited opinions cannot block the massive financial breakthrough that has your specific name on it. Stay quietly in your seat, hold your ground with absolute confidence. The profound silence around you is not the empty sound of a lonely tomb. It is the majestic quiet of a grand theater right before the heavy curtains open. God is carefully setting the massive stage for your arrival season, and your only required job right now is to remain comfortably seated in the front row. There is a very specific reason you feel so agitated this week. The frustration is not a coincidence. The dark enemy is absolutely terrified right now. He has seen the massive blueprint of what heaven is about to release into your life. And because he cannot block the incoming blessing directly, he is desperately trying to manipulate you into ruining the perfect plan yourself. He knows that he has zero power over the grand timeline, but he knows your ultimate weakness. He knows exactly which buttons to push to trigger your deep anxiety. He is throwing sudden chaotic problems into your day specifically to provoke you. He wants to drag you out of your holy seated position and force you back into a frantic state of endless panic and exhaustion. Notice the strange inconveniences that popped up recently, the unexpected bills that suddenly appeared out of nowhere, the passive-aggressive comments from toxic people who usually leave you alone. This is not just bad luck. This is a highly calculated spiritual attack designed exclusively to break your silence. It is carefully placed bait, and he is praying that you take the bait and start fighting. If you stand up to fight this minor battle, you step completely out of the divine alignment. The enemy wants you to use your human hands to fix a spiritual problem, because the moment you intervene, heaven takes a massive step back. God will never force his perfect will over your frantic actions. If you choose to carry the heavy burden again, you will have to carry it entirely alone in the dark. Do not let his cheap tricks steal your massive inheritance. The adversary did not target your finances and your peace because you are weak. He attacked your absolute focus because he is terrified of the incredible wealth you are about to manage. He attacks the cycle breaker the hardest right before the ancient curse is permanently broken. Your intense struggle is proof of your massive value today. You feel a sudden resistance right now. You feel a burning urge to scroll away and ignore this deep truth. That is not logic. That is the enemy trying to pull you out of a moment he knows will finally break his toxic grip on your life. He is whispering heavy lies that you are wasting your precious time by sitting still. He desperately wants you to believe that frantic action is your only savior right now. Resist that dark urge with every single ounce of your strength. Anchor yourself deeply into that chair. The intense compression you feel in your chest is reaching its absolute boiling point. You feel like something is about to shatter into a million pieces, and you are completely right, but it is not your fragile life breaking. It is the heavy chains holding your bloodline in poverty for generations. The threshold is heavily guarded right now. The darkest part of the terrifying night is always the single minute right before the sun explodes over the horizon. The enemy is screaming loud lies because his time is completely up. He is making a massive amount of chaotic noise to distract you from the beautiful sound of the approaching miracle. Close your ears to his desperate panic and maintain your peace. I am breaking his toxic influence over your tired mind today. The fog of confusion he planted is being aggressively burned away by the holy light. You have survived the brutal wilderness. You have endured the painful season of profound isolation without losing your tender heart. And heaven has proudly documented every single time you chose to trust the invisible promise over the visible storm around you. Stay with me right here. We are walking directly toward the final door. The pressure is suffocating right now, and you must not abandon your post. Hold that sentence. Let it settle into your tired bones. The spiritual warfare is reaching its violent peak today. Your absolute stillness is the final key required to turn the heavy lock. Prepare your fragile heart for the ultimate shift. The vault is opening. The atmosphere is shifting. The room is heavy with pure anticipation. You are standing directly on the sacred threshold between your painful past and your glorious future. The intense pressure you feel right now is the gravitational pull of your grand destiny pulling you forward. You have walked barefoot through the burning fire, and now you are standing at the golden gates. The air around you is thick with unseen energy. The frantic noise of the dark enemy is suddenly fading into complete silence. This is the exact moment the heavy compression finally begins to release. Every single tear you cried in the dark has been carefully collected. Every desperate prayer you whispered is currently being converted into a massive wave of divine provision. Look back at the brutal wilderness you just survived. You thought the long journey was designed to break you completely, but heaven was actually forging you into an unbreakable weapon. You are not the same terrified person who started this exhausting race. The timid beggar died in the lonely desert, and a fierce conqueror has emerged from the hot ashes with absolute authority. You no longer flinch when the dark shadows move. You no longer panic when the bank account drops because you know exactly who holds the massive vault. The ultimate transition is happening right inside your tired chest. Feel the heavy armor falling off your tired shoulders right now. You do not need the rusty shield of your own frantic control anymore. Heaven is your absolute fortress today. I am calling you up higher. Step out of the dirty trenches and walk boldly up the royal stairs. The painful season of formation is officially complete. You have passed the brutal test of endurance. And now heaven is rolling out the grand red carpet for the cycle breaker. Your ancestors prayed for this exact moment for hundreds of years, and you are the one chosen to finally fulfill it. The massive spiritual dam is cracking wide open. The heavy chains of poverty and generational trauma are snapping loudly in the unseen realm. The absolute limits that confined your tired family for decades are being completely destroyed today. You are the tipping point of your entire bloodline. Your beautiful decision to sit still has triggered an avalanche of massive grace. Your heart is beating faster right now. That is not anxiety anymore. That is the holy anticipation of a rightful heir realizing they are finally home. The massive estate is fully prepared. The tables are beautifully set right in the presence of your confused enemies. They will be forced to watch heaven bless you in ways they could never possibly comprehend or block. Do you feel the profound shift in the atmosphere? The heavy fog is completely gone. The agonizing confusion has been beautifully replaced with a sharp and undeniable clarity. You know deep in your bones that something incredibly huge is about to break wide open. You can almost smell the fresh rain of the incoming harvest. The long drought that starved your spirit is permanently over. Do not look back at the old ruins. Do not mourn the toxic people you had to leave behind in the harsh wilderness. They could never survive the high altitude of your new calling. You are stepping into a rare atmosphere of unprecedented favor and extreme abundance. Open your empty hands right now. Stop clenching your tight fists. You must have open hands to catch a massive miracle. We are inches away from the grand reveal. The heavy vault door is finally unlocking. The profound mystery of your long delay is about to be entirely justified by the sheer size of the coming reward. Take one final breath in the quiet waiting room. Prepare your mind for the absolute shock of sudden abundance. The explosive breakthrough is standing right in front of you today. Here is the massive revelation you have been waiting for. The heavy doors to your arrival season are completely blown open right now. I promised to hand you the withheld key before we finished, and here is the absolute truth that the enemy desperately wanted to hide from you. The master key to your breakthrough was never working harder or praying louder. The key was total surrender and holy silence. A tired petitioner stands at a busy counter and bargains, but a rightful heir walks boldly through the front doors of the massive estate and simply receives. You are no longer the exhausted survivor begging for tiny drops of mercy because heaven has permanently upgraded your spiritual status today. You are the cycle breaker, stepping into a massive inheritance of generational wealth. That is the huge transformation heaven orchestrated for you today. Your identity has been completely upgraded in the unseen realm. The heavy chains of poverty and endless struggle are permanently shattered. God is transferring the immense resources of the wicked into the clean hands of the righteous, and your hands have been proven completely pure in the fire. The long season of scraping the bottom of the barrel is permanently over. You will no longer look at your bank account with pure terror in your eyes. God is establishing a new financial order in your bloodline starting right now. You will have more than enough to heal your family, and you will easily fund the beautiful dreams you buried deeply in the wilderness. Stand up in your spirit and square your tired shoulders. Stop acting like a slave inside your own father's house. The transactional religion that taught you to constantly grovel for blessings is completely dead. You hold the absolute authority of the Chosen One while the massive vault is completely open for you to receive. The incredible wealth is already deeded permanently in your name. You came into this exact moment feeling like a terrified beggar. You were convinced that the profound silence meant you were being harshly punished. But now the heavy fog has completely lifted. You know the beautiful truth today. The anxiety that gripped your tight chest 10 minutes ago has been entirely washed away, and my profound peace is finally filling that empty space. You are the true heir. Your massive harvest is fully guaranteed. Now I am asking you to make a physical decree to seal this profound spiritual shift, and if this holy sanctuary has bound your deep wounds today, take a moment to honor the altar. You must transition from the terrified mindset of lack into the powerful posture of extreme abundance. Plant a financial seed through the Super Thanks button below right now. This is not a frantic transaction to buy a miracle. It is your physical declaration that you absolutely trust the massive harvest is already secured. When you plant a seed from a place of deep peace, you activate the heavenly law of extreme multiplication over your entire life. Step forward and make your quiet covenant with heaven today. Do it with a chest full of pure pride and absolute gratitude. The enemy wants you to hold tightly to your resources out of deep fear. But the rightful heir gives generously because they know the divine vault can never be emptied by human hands. Claim your profound victory today. You have finally arrived at the glorious destination. The massive shift is permanent. Keep your head held incredibly high. The beautiful transformation from an exhausted caregiver into a powerful conqueror is officially complete. Rest in this immense power today, and watch the physical world rearrange itself completely just to honor your new royal identity. Now, I want you to pause exactly where you are. Stop calculating the future for just one moment. Unclench your tight jaw right now. Drop your heavy shoulders completely down, away from your tired ears. Take one long and incredibly slow breath in today. And as you exhale, let go of the massive armor you have worn for so many years. You are entirely safe in this quiet room. Feel the solid ground beneath your feet. You do not have to hold yourself up with frantic energy anymore. Let the heavy chair fully support your tired body. The brutal battle is officially over, and the spiritual war that kept you awake for countless nights has been completely won. You can finally stop bracing for the next terrible disaster to strike your life. You carried the massive weight of your entire family for so long. You absorbed their deep pain. You swallowed your own bitter tears so they could smile. But heaven is gently lifting that crushing burden off your fragile chest today. The heavy season of being the exhausted caregiver is officially finished. You are allowed to simply exist right now without fixing a single broken thing. Listen to the deep quiet in this sanctuary. Notice how your racing heart is finally beginning to slow down. That profound stillness you feel right now is the undeniable presence of absolute grace. It is the beautiful sound of a grand victory secured in the unseen realm. You do not need to fight the wild wind anymore because the master of the storm has ordered it to sleep. Release the painful memories of the people who misunderstood your pure heart. Let go of the heavy anger you carried against those who abandoned you in the dark. They were never meant to walk with you into this high altitude. Forgive them quietly and leave them completely behind. You cannot carry the toxic baggage of the wilderness into the glorious palace of your new destiny. You are the rightful heir. A true heir does not pace anxiously outside the vault doors. They sleep peacefully in the royal chambers because they trust the divine guards. Your massive inheritance is heavily guarded by fierce angels today. No human hands can ever steal the beautiful provision that heaven has already placed directly into your clean hands. Take another deep breath right now. Fill your tired lungs with the fresh air of this massive arrival season. Let that sweet peace wash over your anxious mind like a gentle river. Every single nerve in your exhausted body is being miraculously restored today. The heavy fog of confusion has been permanently replaced by a crystal clear knowing deep in your spirit. You survived the darkest night of your entire life. You walked through the burning fire without losing your tender soul. And now you get to rest in the cool shade of your massive harvest. Do not rush back out into the chaotic noise of the busy world. Linger in this holy silence for a few more moments. Let your physical body catch up to the massive spiritual shift. Let your hands rest completely open on your lap. Stop clenching your fists around the tiny things you were afraid to lose. When your hands are open, you demonstrate absolute trust. You show heaven that you are finally ready to receive the massive abundance waiting for you. Your open hands are a beautiful declaration of your total surrender to the perfect plan. The immense pressure is entirely gone. The frantic race is completely finished. You have finally arrived at the peaceful shore after a brutal storm. Close your heavy eyes for just 1 second. Feel the warm light of divine favor resting gently on your face today. You are profoundly loved, you are heavily protected, and you are finally allowed to rest in absolute peace. The heavy season of profound isolation is breaking off you completely right now. But heaven always works through sacred connections. There is someone in your phone contacts right now who is staring blindly at their screen. They are absolutely terrified of tomorrow. They are crying quietly over unpaid bills exactly like you were. They think they are entirely alone in this brutal fight. They are carrying a massive burden they cannot lift by themselves. You know exactly how crushing that deep panic feels in the middle of the dark night. Heaven is asking you to become the gentle bridge for their desperate prayers today. Be the miracle they are begging for. Use your own hands to become their miraculous rescue tonight. When you share this exact message with them, you set the unbreakable law of heavenly multiplication into motion. Pass this prophetic word to them immediately. Save a tired soul from dark despair tonight. And watch how incredibly fast your own massive harvest multiplies. God always blesses the hand that freely feeds others. When you operate as a generous river instead of a stagnant pool, the divine provision flows endlessly through your entire life. Share this sacred truth without any hesitation. Let the divine light break the heavy chains of depression for someone you deeply love. Your simple action holds immense power. Your spirit feels incredibly light right now. Hold on to this profound peace fiercely. The dark enemy will try to steal this exact feeling the moment you wake up tomorrow morning. He wants you to completely forget the beautiful covenant we just made here in this sanctuary. He wants you to fall back into the old cycle of panic. Do not let the adversary sever our holy connection. You must secure your access to this sacred altar today. Subscribe to this channel right now so tomorrow's word reaches your screen before the dark shadows can return. This is how you build a massive wall of spiritual protection around your vulnerable mind. Defend your peace. When you secure your place in this tribe, you lock the heavy doors against the spirit of confusion. The enemy thrives when you are completely isolated from divine truth. But he absolutely panics when you anchor your soul to a constant stream of prophetic revelation. Make your firm choice right now to stay entirely in the brilliant light. You are officially walking in the supreme authority of the Chosen One now. Do not shrink back to fit into small rooms you have clearly outgrown. The old version of you died completely in the harsh wilderness. The new version of you is fully equipped to carry the immense weight of generational wealth. Step boldly forward today. Let the confused world watch your massive rise in absolute silence. You owe them absolutely nothing today. They laughed cruelly at your painful struggles in the dark valley, but they will be completely paralyzed by the sheer magnitude of your upcoming harvest. God is preparing a grand table right in the presence of your enemies. Rest your tired head tonight with total confidence. The frantic race is permanently finished. You have survived the absolute worst days of your entire life. Heaven is extremely proud of your quiet endurance. Everything you desperately prayed for is currently making its way directly to your front door. The golden vault is officially open. Every single thing the enemy stole from your family is being returned with massive interest. The long years you spent crying in the wilderness are being fully restored to you today. Do not doubt the sheer scale of the blessing that is falling upon your house. You paid a very high price in the dark, and now you will collect the ultimate reward. Leave the word Amen below as the final stroke of a signature signed by a true heir. Seal this massive prophetic word deep into your tired spirit. Walk forward with your head held incredibly high today. You are fiercely protected. You are deeply loved by the Almighty Creator of the universe. and your glorious arrival season begins right now.